Hello, 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 my loves. How are you? Hopefully, this live or this replay finds you well and in excellent spirits. Welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. This channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So, this is going to be the weekly Astro forecast for the week of December 4th through December 10th, 2023. All right. So, literally earlier, I just did the December monthly Astro forecast. So if you didn't get a chance to catch that live, once you're done watching this one, you can go back and watch that one as well. So you will be all set and prepared for the month of December. All right. So this week, I feel like the energy is going to be a little more conducive, perhaps, than last week. I feel like this week things are kind of going to gel a little bit more effortlessly. Now, the one thing I've come to realize is that just because things come together easily doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be right. In the sense that things can come easily to you even when you're on the wrong path. And I don't know why this particular message came to me today, but it did. So once I get into the forecast, I'll be able to explain a little better. But suffice it to say, I feel like between last week and this week, a lot has shifted, a lot has changed. I feel like many of us have been presented with a choice, right? That full moon in Gemini presented us with certain information. And from that information, many of us had choices to make, right? And so it's really important that you take your time with this choice if you haven't made a decision already, because things are going to start to solidify into place. And you want to make sure that whatever is solidifying for your highest good. You don't want more of what you don't want solidifying. So there's going to be some, I want to say, analysis is the first word that comes to my head, but that's not necessarily what I want to say. I want to say that you want to be intentional about the choices that you're making, and you want to make as much as an informed choice as possible. All right, this was a message that came to me. It's sort of a channeled message. I feel like this is sort of the energy that we're sitting in this week. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I get into all the details, housekeeping and announcements. So if you are joining me here on the live this evening, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you. Feel free to say hello on your way in and also hit that like button, please, and thank you. Now, if you're joining on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. I sincerely hope that you're able to get at least one thing from this broadcast that either enlightens you, confirms something you needed to know, or give you some clarity moving into this week. And if you do, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I would also appreciate that as well. All right. So let's see. In terms of announcements, so Wednesday at 9:30 p.m., I will be doing the 2024 yearly Astro forecast. 9:30 p.m., same place, same time. You guys definitely don't want to miss it. I'm breaking down everything that you need to know astrologically speaking for 2024 so that you can be prepared going into the new year. All right. And speaking of the new year, my books are now open for 2024 readings. This is a transit astrology report, written report that you will receive, plus a 60-minute online consultation. It is everything that you need to know personally based on your chart for the year of 2024. It's a written report, online consultation, plus I pull cards during the consultation. So you get channeled messages from spirit, you get your astrology transit reports, and you will be all set for 2024. Again, my books are open, but slots are limited. I will only be doing these readings probably until mid-January. So you'll definitely want to book as soon as possible. The link to that will be it'll be tagged to the video, and you'll also see the link in the description box below. All right. So definitely jump on that before all of my time slots are taken. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, if you're someone who's interested in getting your horoscope, you don't know where to look, or the ones that you find on the internet are not really hitting like they should, you should definitely consider subscribing to my text service, where you will get your weekly horoscope texted every Monday. All right. And if you are interested in that, you would text the word Zodiac to the number 855-826-5544. That information will be in the description box below as well. All right. And if you are someone who is new to astrology and you have absolutely no idea what's going on, or you started studying astrology, but you realize that it's a lot of information, a lot of stuff to commit to memory, don't worry, I got you covered. I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology, mainly the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. These are the 4 things that you need to know down pat before you start really understanding and implementing astrology into your life, okay? So it's an 11-page PDF document that gives you a short summary on all of these things. It breaks it down granularly so that you get the most important information so you can start committing it to memory. Because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science. And like any science, requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. If you're interested in getting it, the link will be in the description box below. All you need to do is provide your email address and you'll be good to go. All right. So back to this week. So like I said, I feel like things, based on the astrology, I feel like this is going to be a week where things are a little easier. Things kind of just gel and go together. I think we're going to be able to enjoy some positive energy this week, which I don't know for you, but I know I definitely need an injection of positive energy in my life right now. But it's going to be a really good week. However, it's also going to be one of those weeks where decisions that you've made before, choices that you made before are going to start to materialize for better or for worse. So if you've been on your P's and Q's, if you've really been intentional about what you're trying to manifest in your life, perhaps you're someone who is breaking generational curses. Maybe you are someone who's really on your spiritual path. You're going to start to realize that things are going to start to come together. Now, the opposite is also true. Maybe you're not on your spiritual path. Maybe you're continuing bad patterns. Maybe you've made choices that are not necessarily informed, right? Those things are going to start to gel together as well. So it's going to be an interesting week to start to see how things work out, right? And speaking of the week, let's get into it, right? So, of course, we start with the highlights. So first, we have what I like to call Soul Snatcher. And this is Venus in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio, this placement, I love this placement. Not only is it my natal placement, so I'm very familiar with this energy, but it's also very intense. It's passionate. It's like a Venus flytrap, okay? So it's desires, real love, sort of that. I always say the ugly side of love, like the real raw side of love is the essence of Venus and Scorpio. It's about deep love. It's about intensity. It's about passion. It's also about vulnerability. All right. So many people may feel uncomfortable with this particular Venus transit because love is about to get real. It's about to get ugly, and it's about to, it's going to be a very big difference from the last couple of weeks. And I'll get into that a little bit later. Next, we have what I like to call dreams and fantasies, and this is going to be Neptune direct in Pisces. So after spending about 5 or 6 months retrograde in Pisces, which is Neptune's home sign, right? Neptune is finally going to go direct. So whereas over the last couple of months, we've been really seeing life for what it really is, things have been kind of harsh, a little more realistic. Now that Neptune is going direct, we can put the rose-colored glasses on and we can dream, we can fantasize, we can use our imaginations, and we can sort of tap into another dimension of things. Neptune energy is largely about escape. And over the last couple of months, there have been a lot of things that we just could not escape from. But now that Neptune is going direct, we can feel free to drink, drug it up, escape reality as best we can. And the universe will support it, all right, for better or for worse. And then finally, we have what I like to call growth and expansion. And this is because we have 2 Jupiter transits. So things are about to be large. Things are about to be exaggerated a bit, okay? We've got Mercury trine Jupiter. So this is just typical mundane kind of astrology. It's really like good news. Good news, good news. Good ideas, bright ideas, expansive ideas, stuff like that. Then we have Venus opposite Jupiter, which typically oppositions are harsh, but when you've got 2 benefic planets, namely Venus and Jupiter, at the ends of those oppositions, things get to be good, maybe too good, but I'll get into that a little later. And of course, whenever we're talking about Jupiter, we are talking about growth, expansion, and adventure. Now, the sun is still going to be in the sign of Sagittarius this week. So there's Jupiter transits. We may feel it a lot more because the sun is in the sign that Jupiter rules. So there may be exponential growth at your fingertips. You may have this real drive for adventure and this real desire to want to do different things and exciting things, right? Or you just may want to just expand past your boundaries at this point in a major sort of way. So I feel like these Jupiter transits are going to be pretty intense this week, but of course in a good way. All right, so let's get into the weekend and see exactly what we've got going on. All right, so today, like I said before, we've got Venus moving into Scorpio. Tomorrow, we've got Venus trine Saturn, and the moon will be moving into Virgo. Thereafter, on Wednesday, we've got Neptune going direct in Pisces, and the moon moving into Libra. On Thursday, we've got the sun trine Chiron, and Mercury trine Jupiter. Thereafter, on Friday, we've got the moon in Scorpio. Then on Saturday, we end the week with Venus opposite Jupiter. All right, so I want you to take notice of something. Look at where all of the symbols are, right? Where it says Venus trine Saturn, Sun trine Chiron, Mercury trine Jupiter. We've got 3 trines this week, and trines represent effortless action. It's like things just come together. Think of the Trinity, right? It's like things just flow together. It's peace, it's harmony, right? But keep in mind, sometimes when things are in a trine, it's sometimes things that don't allow you to grow, right? Because they keep you stagnant. They keep you in your comfort zone. Other times it just the wrong things may be coming together effortlessly, right? So it's really important that this week you take a look at what exactly is coming together and how is it coming together? And is it coming together in a way that ultimately serves you? All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, my love. So we begin the week off in a very passionate sort of way with Venus moving into Scorpio. And you will see that in the red circle at the top right-hand portion of the chart. Venus will be at 0 degrees Scorpio actually right now. Okay. So I feel like this is a placement that often gets misunderstood, and often gets like a bad rep. Okay. So first and foremost, when we're talking about like technical astrology jargon, Venus is in it's in detriment. It's in detriment in Scorpio. That means that Venus is at home in Taurus. It is the home sign of Taurus. Taurus is the opposite sign of Scorpio. That means that when Venus is in Scorpio, it is in detriment, meaning that Venus is not comfortable in Scorpio. And I'll give you a better way to think about this. So over the last couple of weeks, Venus was in her home sign of Libra. And, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So Venus was in Libra, super comfortable. Venus loves beauty. Libra is a sign of beauty, right? Libra is a sign of art. It's a sign of music. It's a sign of aesthetics, right? Venus loves to feel good. Libra likes to feel good too. Venus loves peace and harmony. Libra is all about peacekeeping and everyone getting along, right? In Libra, Venus shines because Venus can be a little superficial. Let's just be honest, right? In Taurus, Venus is materialistic. She loves beautiful things. She loves comfort, but she loves things, right? In Libra, she loves people. She loves to relate to people. She likes everyone to get along, right? And then Venus goes into Scorpio, and Scorpio represents the underworld. Scorpio represents the realness, the shit that's under the surface that nobody wants to see. Scorpio represents the taboos. Scorpio represents the mysteries, the things that are hidden, the occult. And in Scorpio, Venus is like, this isn't pretty. Love is supposed to be an Instagram post. Love is supposed to be romance. It's supposed to be fairness. And in Scorpio, Venus learns some harsh lessons. She learns that love is not always fair, that life can be ugly. But she also understands that it is in that realness and it's in that vulnerability that you have true love. Venus and Libra, maybe not so true love. It looks good. It looks good on paper. You know, it's a great aesthetic. It's matching PJs on Instagram. Venus and Scorpio will love you despite your faults, because Venus and Scorpio understands that love is a totality of things. It's beautiful and it's ugly. So Venus may not necessarily be so comfortable in Scorpio. However, she is all encompassing when she is in Scorpio. And that's the energy that we have at our disposal when Venus is in Scorpio. So Venus in Libra is like, this looks great. I'm in this relationship, blah, 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 blah. And then she gets in Scorpio and is like, whoa, like you're really disgusting. Like the way that you live, the way you don't shower every day, like ew, like, But I still love you because that's you, right? So when Venus is in Scorpio, not only are we able to take love to a deeper level, a realer level, we also really get in touch with our desires in a very primal sort of way. So Venus in Scorpio, it's very passionate. It's highly emotional because remember, Scorpio is a water sign, right? It's also about closeness. Venus and Scorpio wants to merge. I called it soul snatcher for a reason, because Venus and Scorpio wants your soul. She doesn't want a cute picture. She doesn't want the superficial you. She wants the real you. She wants to possess you. She wants to have your soul, okay? In a good way, sometimes. The darker side of Venus and Scorpio, she could be obsessive, jealous, manipulative, all of those things, right? When it comes to relationships, it's all or nothing. Venus and Scorpio is not about the superficiality, not about the cuteness. It's all about everything in its totality, everything in its wholeness, all right? Again, doesn't like superficiality and is more prone to a more profound kind of relationship. Now, if you begin a new relationship while Venus is in Scorpio, it's likely that it's going to be a relationship that is a lot more profound, a lot more substantive. You may be able to converse with this person or relate to this person on a much deeper, realer level. It's not just about the kind of conversation you have. It's the way you make each other feel, right? It can be very intense, almost too intense for most people, to be honest. Most people can't necessarily deal with Venus and Scorpio, right? But apart from just romance and relationships, Venus also has to do with money. And Venus in Scorpio has a lot to do with other people's money. Scorpio energy is a lot to do with other people's resources. So while Venus is in Scorpio, this may have a lot to do with other people's money. So loans, money from your spouse or your partner, maybe even your business partner, funds that are shared, right? All of these things can come into focus while Venus is in Scorpio. And more specifically, if we're talking about Venus and Scorpio and money, sort of the fairness and the equality having to do with you versus other people's money, right? It could even be your money versus other people's money. But these are sort of the themes that usually come up when Venus is in Scorpio. It's a good time for finances, especially when working with other people's talents or resources. So if you're someone like a money manager, you may even be a talent manager or an agent or a supporter or a promoter. Venus in Scorpio is great for that, right? It's great for other people's resources. And being able to, the word that's coming to mind is exploit, but not necessarily in a bad way. Being able to exploit other people's money may be lucrative for you while Venus is in Scorpio. So that's definitely something to think about. All right. Now, interestingly enough, Venus will not be in Scorpio for too long. Venus actually makes 2 moves during the month of December. So while Venus is in Scorpio, you'll definitely want to use this energy to allow yourself to be a little more vulnerable. Remember, I said Venus in Scorpio loves realness. It's about embracing people in their wholeness, in their totality, for better or for worse. That is why in the zodiac, Libra rules marriage, right? Like that's like the legal contract that binds you two together. But the real consummation of the marriage occurs in Scorpio when you have sex, when you merge together, when you merge energies together. That is where the real marriage takes place. So that requires depth, right? It requires vulnerability. It requires putting yourself out there at the risk of getting hurt, right? And so think about that with your relationships. Whether you can practice that now or whether you can embody that in order to attract that into your life. But vulnerability is where it's at when it comes to realness in relationships. And Venus in Scorpio will not let you forget it. All right. So let's keep it moving. All right. So then tomorrow on Tuesday, we've got Venus trine Saturn. You'll see Venus at the very top of the chart at 1 degree Scorpio. It will be trine to Saturn at 1 degree Pisces. And then the moon will be moving into Virgo. You'll see that at the upper right-hand portion of the chart with the moon being at 17 degrees Virgo. All right. So Venus trine Saturn. This is great. If I had to sum up this transit, it would be 2 words: commitment and investment. Venus trine Saturn Venus trine Saturn really urges you to figure out what you want to invest in and what you want to commit to. Venus trine Saturn is the quintessential transit. It's also the quintessential arrangement when we're talking about synastry, two people comparing charts to see how compatible they are. It's the quintessential transit for marriage, for engagement, for all of that stuff, right? Because while Venus is all about love and romance and relationships, Saturn is all about longevity. So if you're looking to commit to someone, you would want to have a favorable Saturn energy along with that. Okay. So it's great for committing. It's great for making long-term investments. It's really great for putting in the time, the effort, or the resources into something that will grow over time and be valuable. So it could be relationships. It could be something like real estate. It could be blue chip stocks. It could be anything that you put your money into that's kind of low risk, where that money will grow over time, over a long period of time. Now, what makes this particular transit interesting is that over the last couple of weeks, Venus was in her home sign of Libra, like I said before. All about relationships, right? We were seeing what relationships were equitable. We were figuring out our love lives, some of us, right? Keep in mind, during that same time, the South Node was going through Libra. So this is cleaning house when it comes to relationships. You may have found that relationships ended probably abruptly. And you can kind of see that like in the news, like so many, especially celebrity couples are divorcing, separating, all that stuff. That South Node going through Libra is really cleaning house when it comes to relationships. Now, for some, maybe your relationships didn't end. However, if it didn't end, it'll either stand the test of time, or you didn't learn the lessons that you needed to, and you may be stuck in a karmic holding pattern. Now, with Venus trine Saturn, you're going to get locked into whatever relationship you're kind of stuck in right now, for better or for worse. For better, meaning that, wow, this could really stand the test of time. Like, we can really move forward with this. We could really get married, and this may last forever, right? This transit also has this element of soulmate to it, right? But for others, right, especially with Venus in Libra, if there's any superficiality in your relationship, if it's all aesthetics and it's all fluff but no substance, you are going to get locked into that for quite some time. And you're going to probably be you're probably going to be playing out another karmic cycle with somebody. Okay. So that's what I mean when I said before, you have to make very informed decisions. Otherwise, you're going to kind of get locked into whatever decision that you've decided to make, whatever choice you decided to make. So that being the case, you want to make sure that what you're committing to and what you're investing into is going to be worth your while, and that it's going to be something that's going to be lucrative to you in the future. Now, what's interesting is that at the same time that you're getting locked into this, Venus and Scorpio was going to show you what you really signed up for, right? It's like, oh my gosh, the vision I'm getting right now is just horrible. So, but I'll explain it to you because I think it's kind of funny. So let's say you're a dude that you're in and you're into women, and you found this woman and she's everything. She looks great. She smells great. She looks great on paper. You have great conversation and you decide, okay, she's mine. I'm going to make her mine. I'm going to lock her down, right? You lock her down. You take her home. She undresses and nothing on her is real. Her eyelashes aren't real. Her hair ain't real. Her nails aren't real. Her booty isn't real. Nothing on her is real. And then when you finally look at her, when she takes all her stuff off, she's not the best looking. She's kind of ugly. She's kind of ugly. And you're like, fuck, what do I do? What do I do? You're kind of stuck with her for a little bit. That's a karmic lesson for you. The lesson in that is looks, it's not all about what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside. Hopefully she's a nice person on the inside. Hopefully she's got a great personality. She's got some depth and substance. But if she doesn't, that's your karmic lesson to learn. That's sort of what's going on here. You kind of get stuck with the decision that you made, especially in relationships right now. So be careful who you're locking down. Be careful who you are investing in. Be careful who you are. I don't really say be careful because I think that many of us are making good, informed choices when it comes to this, right? But be mindful of what you are investing into. Venus also has a lot to do with values. What is it that you value in relationships? Is it superficiality? And then when shit gets real, you're like, nah, I didn't sign up for this. Or are you someone who values depth and substance? Maybe the outside don't look so good, but they're beautiful. They have a beautiful heart, right? These are the things that we need to think about, especially now, because we're at a point where, especially with that South Node still going through Libra, and it will continue to go through Libra until 2025. So this cleaning house of relationships is going to be happening until then, generally speaking, for all of us. But this is one of those instances where, remember I said, trines, things just fit together, but the wrong things can fit together. And so you want to be mindful of that moving forward, all right? And then that same day, the moon is going to go into Virgo. And with the moon in Virgo, it's like you really want to get organized with your life. Like you really want to make sense of what's going on. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is currently in Capricorn. So you're kind of going to be taking a realistic, sobering, and very serious look at your life, right? Or wherever Virgo happens to be in your chart, right? And this is where you're going to organize, get efficient, compartmentalize things, and make sense of things. Virgo's kink is making order out of chaos, right? And so when the moon is in Virgo, we all love to do that. We all get a little bit of that Virgo energy, and we love to organize. We love to make sense of things, right? And the moon is going to be in the last quarter phase. And when the moon is in the last quarter phase, it's all about reevaluating your intentions that you set at the new moon. So at the new moon, you said, listen, I want to do this. Now that we're at the last quarter phase in Virgo, it's like, all right, did I really do it? Do I still want to do this? And if I still want to do this, how do I do this better? How do I actually make this happen? You take responsibility for your mistakes and your accomplishments. So maybe you realize, okay, I didn't work as hard as I needed to. Or maybe you pat yourself on the back for a job well done. And you also let go of what's not necessary. Virgo loves to do this. Virgo loves to declutter. Virgo loves to compartmentalize. Virgo loves to make order out of chaos. So this is exactly what we're going to be doing when the moon is in Virgo. And I suggest that you do that, right? Because as I always say this about Virgo energy, and being a Virgo sun, I definitely don't mean any shade by this, but Virgo is a very unsexy kind of energy. It's all about your daily routine. It's all about your chores, your daily responsibilities, organizing, cleaning, making sense of everything. Virgo gives us order in the world. Virgo allows us to move forward successfully because we don't have a lot of shit around us. We've cleaned up, we've put things in their place. There's a place for everything. Virgo knows this. And when the moon is in Virgo, you should too. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, thereafter on Wednesday, we have Neptune going direct in Pisces, and you will see that at the bottom left-hand portion of the chart, Neptune will be going direct at 24 degrees Pisces. And then that same day, we will have the moon moving into Libra, and you'll see that at the upper right-hand portion of the chart with the moon at 0 degrees Libra. All right, so first, Neptune going direct in Pisces. So being an outer planet, Neptune spends, I want to say, anywhere between 20 to 25 years in a sign, or a little less. Neptune's been in Pisces for a minute, and Neptune will remain in Pisces for a minute. And Pisces is Neptune's home sign. So Neptune is super comfortable, outer worldly, and the energy is very potent. So like I alluded to before, when Neptune is retrograde, the rose-colored glasses come off and we look at life in a more realistic sense. And this is very much the case right now because Saturn, the planet of obstacles, challenges, and harsh realities, is in the sign of Pisces. So definitely since earlier this year, especially when Neptune was retrograde, we saw life for what it really was. The harshness of it, the reality of it, the challenges. You know, Neptune is a planet of humanity. And we've seen some of the atrocities of humanity, especially in the recent past, right? With war, with all of this crazy political shit going on, right? And we had no choice but to deal with it because that's life. That's the reality of life, right? But now that Neptune is going direct, Neptune is going to infuse a little bit of fantasy and idealism. And it's time for us to put our rose-colored glasses back on. Now, the positive of that is that it gives us hope and optimism. It gives us something to look forward to. Neptune also has a lot to do with spirituality and faith. And so when it comes to those things, despite what's going on in the world, despite the atrocities, we're able to still have faith, not only faith in the divine, but faith in humanity to a certain extent, right? It allows us to dream. It allows us to fantasize. And of course, you'll know the first universal law is the law of mentalism. All is mind. Everything starts in the mind. So being able to dream and fantasize is how you create your reality. That's manifestation 101, right? That's sort of the positive aspect of Neptune direct in Pisces. However, Neptune direct in Pisces can also be delusional, aloof, escapist, and can also lend itself to addictive behaviors. Neptune direct in Pisces doesn't want to deal with the reality of life. It can be too much, too harsh, too demanding, too restrictive. Neptune in Pisces just wants to escape via media, via movies, via drugs, via alcohol, anything that lets you forget reality for a little bit. So it's important to understand the essence of Neptune energy and understand where Pisces is in your chart. Wherever Pisces is in your chart, this is where, especially right now, you will tend to be a little delusional. You may not see things for what they truly are. You may be more likely to escape whatever issues present themselves wherever Pisces is in your chart. Let's say Pisces is your second house. Second house is all about your personal finances. With Neptune in Pisces, direct in Pisces in your second house, when it comes to money matters, sometimes you may be like an ostrich. You may just put your head in the sand and not pay attention to what's going on, not open your bills, not do anything because you just don't want to deal with the reality of it. However, Neptune in Pisces can also have you imagining many different ways that you can make money. right? It all depends on how you use the energy. And what's most important is that you use the energy and you don't allow the energy to use you, okay? But by and large, not only does Neptune energy embody, dreams and fantasies, it also has a lot to do with spirituality, telepathy, psychic abilities. Anything that's otherworldly falls under the realm of Neptune. And so when Neptune is direct, all of that becomes heightened. Your intuition becomes heightened, especially wherever Pisces is in your chart. Your imagination becomes more vivid. Your dreams may become more vivid now that Neptune is going direct in Pisces. While Neptune is retrograde, maybe you weren't dreaming so much, or maybe you weren't remembering your dreams. But now you will. Now you're going to be dreaming all sorts of vivid and fantastical dreams now that Neptune is going direct. And it's time to be hopeful again. It may not feel that way, but Neptune direct in Pisces allows you to be optimistic. It allows you to see the bigger picture and have hope and faith in a power greater than your own. All right. I really like Neptune direct because it allows us to move forward, right? A lot of what is created, a lot of what is invented may at first seem delusional. It may not be anything that is within our realm of consciousness or our realm of reality. That's where Neptune energy comes in. When people are divinely inspired. That's why creativity is also covered under Neptune. Creativity is otherworldly. Creativity is divinely inspired. And when you're tapped into that, there's no telling what you can create. And so I love that Neptune is going direct because it allows us to create, it allows us to dream, and it allows us to see life a little less harshly. All right. Then next up, we've got the moon moving into Libra. And as if we don't have enough emphasis on relationships, when the moon moves into Libra, more relationship shit, right? We derive our emotional satisfaction by relating to people. It's not about just being in relationships with people. It's relating to people. So being social, talking to people, chatting with people, going out, talking to people, all that good stuff, right? Maybe even debating with people, mentally sparring with people, right? Libra loves interaction with others. And when the moon is in Libra, everyone loves interaction with others, or at least feels some sort of desire to want to interact with others, or at least with someone. It's all about creating order through pleasing interactions. Remember I said when Venus was in Libra, Venus loves everything to be fair and everyone to like each other, everyone to get along. Same shit when the moon is in Libra, right? Everyone's got to get along. Everyone's got to, all of that good stuff. The thing with Libra is that Libra is all about balance. It's all about finding a suitable middle ground, right? This can lead to things like equality, fairness, but on the darker side, people pleasing, superficiality, saying what people want to hear just so that you can get them on your side, right? It can lend itself to a lot of that. But by and large, whenever the moon is in Libra, there's an emphasis on the other. There's an emphasis on other people, relationships, people that we interact with, fairness and equality. Now, the moon is going to be in the waning crescent phase. And keep in mind that while the moon traverses through the sign of Libra, it's also going to hit that south node in Libra. So this is more clearing of relationship shit. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're clearing an actual relationship, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to break up. However, relationship patterns that no longer serve you, it could be habits that you have in relationships that no longer serve you, values related to relationships that no longer serve you. You're going to feel that shit at the moon in Libra, especially now, like I said, with the south node in Libra. So if you find that in relationships you're hitting resistance, or there's something that's not rubbing you the right way, or maybe there's a pattern where you and your partner keep butting heads or keep encountering the same issue, the moon in Libra, especially because it's going to be in the waning crescent phase, it's time to let that go. It's time to get rid of that. So this may be a situation where things aren't so diplomatic, where things aren't so equal. And, you may have to confront somebody. You may have to have difficult conversations, especially with Mercury currently in Capricorn. Difficult conversations, serious conversations, all about relationship stuff. So, waning crescent, moon in Libra, conjunct that south node. We're clearing house when it comes to relationship and relationship patterns. So it may not feel good, but definitely necessary. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so on Thursday, we have the Sun trine Chiron, and we've got Mercury trine Jupiter. So at the top portion of the chart, you'll see the Sun at 15 degrees Sagittarius. And at the bottom portion of the chart, you will see Chiron, that little green key, at 15 degrees Aries. Thereafter, you will see Mercury at the top hand portion of the chart at 4. Does that say 4? I'm sorry, no, that's 6 degrees Capricorn. And then you'll see Jupiter at the bottom portion of the chart at 6 degrees Taurus. All right. So by way of a quick astrology lesson, whenever you have two planets that are trine each other, it means that they are in signs of the same element. So the Sun is currently in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. Chiron is currently in Aries, which is also a fire sign. That is why they are trine. Mercury is currently in Capricorn, an earth sign. Jupiter is currently in Taurus, another earth sign, hence why they are trine. So first up, Sun trine Chiron. This is opportunities to shine. If you haven't already, and I did this a couple of months ago, I did a really great video on Chiron, and you should definitely check it out to understand what Chiron is in your chart, and especially the mythology behind Chiron, because Chiron signifies many important things. One of the things is that Chiron was actually a teacher. And basically, Chiron was able to teach from a place of experience, wisdom gained through experience. And when the Sun is trine Chiron, we kind of get to do the same thing. It's sort of like we embody what we've overcome. Chiron has everything to do with our insecurities, our wounds, right? It's almost like your Achilles heel. And when you have the Sun trine Chiron, it's like you can really, especially if you've done the inner work to overcome those Chiron wounds, when the Sun is trine Chiron, you are able to embody what you've overcome. And in turn, that teaches people by example how to overcome the same thing. Right? So Sun trine Chiron can be really enlightening in terms of your own ability to heal yourself and then teach others basically how you healed yourself. Now, if you haven't healed yourself, Sun trine Chiron will sort of bring whatever needs to be healed into focus. Now, because both the Sun and Chiron are currently in fire signs, you're going to feel very fired up and motivated to heal yourself. So this isn't necessarily, I'll say this. I wouldn't necessarily take this energy to mean that I need to look for something within myself to heal. I feel like whatever needs to be healed will come to the surface effortlessly. Remember, I said this is a trine. Trines are effortless action. Don't go looking for shit to heal. Allow what needs to be healed to come up naturally. And I feel like because the Sun is currently still in the sign of Sagittarius, you're going to see the bigger picture as to why you need to heal this or what healing this will allow you to accomplish. It'll also give you a very different and new perspective on life, especially as it relates to whatever needs to be healed. So to recap, Sun trine Chiron. If you've successfully done healing work, this is going to be your time to shine. And I feel like you're going to be able to teach other people how to heal perhaps similar wounds just by embodying this new healed person. And conversely, if you haven't healed yet, this transit will allow you to see naturally what needs to be healed. And I feel like you'll be motivated to do so. Remember, you don't have to do the most. Right? With trines, things just sort of come together. And thankfully, if you're someone who hasn't healed yet, if you have more healing work to do, the fact that the Sun is going to be trine Chiron means that however these wounds come up, I don't think they're necessarily going to be detrimental or they're going to feel so bad or they're going to feel so heavy. I feel like it's going to come up in a way that's going to really get you to take notice and be like, okay, wow, I really need to heal that. It's almost like you're going to be observing what needs to be healed rather than feeling what needs to be healed. And that's a great and powerful place to be. because then you're not so bogged down by the emotion of what needs to be healed. You're really sort of in your mind and you're like, okay, this is what's come up. Let me do the work to heal this. And again, for those who have done the work, this is your time to shine. Embody this new healed person. Trust and believe people will take notice and they will learn by your example. Okay. Then next up, we've got Mercury trine Jupiter. And this is also a trine. So this is effortless energy, right? This is good news. This is optimism. This is being open-minded and progressive. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and the sun is still currently in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about broadening your horizons, expanding your mind. So I feel like Mercury trine Jupiter is really going to be a situation where you're presented with opportunities that can really take you on a new adventure or really give you a different and beautiful, bigger picture perspective on life. Now, because Mercury has a lot to do with reading, writing, researching, all of those things are going to thrive during this transit. So if you have to read, if you have to research, if you have to study for exams, if you need to write anything, this would be the time to do so. It may also be the time that you want to disseminate whatever you are writing. You're going to want to publish whatever you are writing right now. Sagittarius also has a lot to do with publishing. So with Mercury trine Jupiter, if you are looking to publish a blog post, publish videos, publish anything in writing or digitally, you're going to want to do it in under this transit because it's going to be very favorable. Jupiter also has a lot to do, and Sagittarius thereby also have a lot to do with travel. So if you are fortunate enough to be taking a long distance trip under this transit, I feel that it would go very well for you. But if you're not able to take a trip, this is a great time to plan a trip, especially a trip to a far away place that you've likely never been before. So that being the case, I always use the example of Bali. If you want to go to Bali, maybe now may be the time to set that in stone. Now may be the time to get that group chat going and say, who wants to go? Let's put down a deposit. All of that stuff. All of that stuff thrives under this transit. Again, it's being open-minded, it's progressive, and this is what allows you to be optimistic about the future, allowing for new, different, and exciting things to shift your perspective of life. That's the best way to use this particular transit, okay? Things like law, religion, language, philosophy, these are the type of topics you'll want to study right now, especially if these pique your interest. If you have to take an exam or something like that, I feel like you'll be in a better mindset to study. So they should relatively go well. Business dealings also go well. So it's a great time to enter into negotiations and sign contracts. You'll definitely want to do that now because next week Mercury is going to go retrograde and you're not going to want to do that at that time. So if you can push things through now, right? Like let's say you've been doing a business deal, you haven't signed the contract yet. You may want to do that now, specifically on Thursday. I would say Wednesday to Friday, right? Because the astrology supports it. Plus, this is right before Mercury goes retrograde. So keep that in mind. It's also a good time for legal matters. So if you want to start a legal matter or settle a legal matter, that should also go really well. Jupiter energy also has a lot to do with being generous. So this is a great time to be charitable. You may also find that people are generous and charitable with you right now. So also keep that in mind. It's also great to just socialize. This transit is great for socializing, particularly socializing with people who are of a different mindset, a different philosophy, a different ideology, a different religion, a different political party. You'll be able to sort of see the bigger picture of things. Now, that's kind of a tall order, especially with everything that's going on right now. But you may be able to have some really fruitful and really eye-opening conversations with people who just have different viewpoints than you. So talk to people, be social. You never know what you can learn and how your mind can be blown. All right. So that is Thursday. Let's keep it moving. All right, so on Friday, we have the moon moving into Scorpio. So you will see the moon at 0 degrees Scorpio at the bottom left-hand portion of the chart, and it will be approaching Venus in Scorpio. Venus just recently went into Scorpio today, and you'll see Venus at 5 degrees Scorpio. All right, so when the moon is in Scorpio, your emotions are intense, they're passionate, they are substantive, and they are deep. Still waters run deep. That's really the phrase when it comes to Scorpio. It's really about substance over superficiality. And it's about reading between the lines. Scorpio loves to get under the surface. Scorpio also loves to get under the covers, if we're being honest. But it's about reading between the lines. It's about not necessarily what's said, but what is felt and what is intended. Scorpio can pick up on intentions like that. And when the moon is in Scorpio, so can we, if you choose to tap into that energy, right? Now, Scorpio energy has a lot to do with power and control. Scorpio, the traditional ruler is Mars, but the modern ruler is Pluto, and Pluto has everything to do with control and power. And so when the moon is in Scorpio, we have a unique opportunity to tap into our own power, but more importantly, to uncover our own power. There's something very empowering about uncovering your own power, right? So when the moon is in Scorpio, it's really about what we bring to what's under the surface, right? What we bring to the table, what is not really being said, but what is felt and what is intended, right? And with the moon meeting up with Venus in Scorpio, things are going to get very intense when it comes to relationships. What is underneath the surface, it won't even need to be said. It's almost like your intuition will just be able to pick up on it. Now, what you do with that information is ultimately up to you. However, it goes without saying that you can't hide with Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy will feel your bullshit. Scorpio energy will feel your passion. Scorpio energy will feel your need for power or control. Scorpio will draw it out of you. So you may find that in your relationships, what is underneath the surface is being drawn out, okay? It can be very intense, especially if what's being drawn out is not necessarily that pleasing, okay? But again, remember, Venus in Scorpio, Moon in Scorpio, any planet in Scorpio, it's about understanding that it's not just about the superficial. It's not just about the clean. It's not about the neat. It's not just about the pretty. It's about everything that's under the surface. It's wholeness. It's totality. It's the realness. It's the substance. It's the depth, okay? Now, the moon is going to be in the waning phase, specifically the waning crescent phase. And when the moon is in the waning phase, it's like we get rid of what no longer serves us. And whenever the moon is in Scorpio, it's shadow work time. And when we're talking about shadow work, we're talking about unhealed wounds. We're talking about unhealthy patterns. We're talking about bad habits, things that get in the way, things that are like rot, that are like rotten underneath the surface, right? It's almost like if you have like milk in your fridge and you leave it there for too long and it starts to smell, but you're too lazy to take it out. It's time to take out that sour milk and throw it out because it definitely no longer serves you, right? That's what we do when the moon is in Scorpio. We should be doing that on a regular basis. Shadow work is an ongoing thing. However, when the moon is in Scorpio, we are more apt to do shadow work. And with the presence of Venus in Scorpio, a lot of it has to do with relationships or relationship patterns. So be easy on yourself because some of the things that may be coming up, some of the things that may be drawn out, may be kind of heavy. Maybe patterns you've been relying on for a long time. Maybe shit from childhood, shit from your parents. Like it could be a lot. Shadow work is never easy, right? But it's necessary. It's necessary. You got to get rid of that sour milk in the fridge. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, and then we end the week on Saturday with Venus opposite Jupiter. So you will see Jupiter at the top hand portion of the chart at 6 degrees Taurus, and you will see Venus at the bottom portion of the chart at 6 degrees Scorpio. All right, so typically an opposition, when two planets are at either extremes, is known as a harsh aspect. It's all about extremes, and it can show you where things are out of balance. Maybe you've got too much Jupiter, maybe you've got too much Venus, right? But here's the thing. Venus and Jupiter are both positive planets. They're known as benefic planets. So when they're opposite, it's actually really good. Too good sometimes. And remember, too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing. Candy is great, but a shitload of candy is going to rot your teeth, right? That's sort of the essence of Venus opposite Jupiter. It's excess. It's indulgence. It's doing the most. Like if you're partying, you are partying hard. If you are eating with reckless abandon. If you are shopping, you are spending all the damn money, right? Like it is excessive and overindulgent. That's sort of the out of balanceness of it, right? On the other hand, where things are balanced, you're enjoying things in moderation. You're allowing yourself to have a good time. You're allowing yourself to be happy. You're allowing yourself to go shopping, but you're not taking it overboard, right? You're not overly materialistic, but you allow yourself to go shopping. You're not delusional and thinking that everything in the world is great, but you're allowing yourself to be optimistic. It's all about balance. So Venus opposite Jupiter, you're going to want to see where Taurus and Scorpio are in your chart. Keep in mind, these two signs have a lot to do with resources, particularly money. So watch your spending over the weekend. You may fall into that overindulgence or overspending camp of this particular transit. All right. So you want to be mindful of that. You don't want to do the most, right? If you need to borrow money, you're not borrowing a whole bunch of money that you know you can't pay back. Or conversely, you're not lending money, right? Jupiter is very generous. So for some, you may be lending money that you know that you need, but you know that you're not going to get back, right? Like everything in moderation and nothing to excess, okay? Sun is still in Sagittarius, so that Jupiter part of that opposition, we're going to be feeling it a lot. So try not to engage in excessive drinking, excessive drugging, excessive anything that takes you away from reality. Venus has a lot to do with food. Venus loves some good food. You don't want to do the most with the food. You don't want to get into gluttony land. You don't want to be overeating, right? Everything in moderation, and you can enjoy yourself more than enough. All right. So that's the astrology for the week. So, of course, now we're going to pull some cards and get some messages from Spirit. All right, my love. So, I'm going to pull some cards for messages from Spirit. Now, you know the deal. I do these by sign, but whatever message resonates with you is for you, whether it's your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, your Venus sign, your Mars sign, your North Node. Doesn't matter. If it's your message, it's for you. All right. So without further ado, let's start. And of course, we start at the beginning with Aries. Let's see what we've got for Aries for this week. Okay, Aries, we've got the Fool. You guys are embarking on a new adventure. This this Sagittarius energy, which is actually trine to your sign, has you wanting to embark on a new adventure. And you guys tend to be very risky. And I want you to take a good look at this card. You see, it looks like he is about to walk off a cliff, and you guys are more than willing to do so. Like you guys just want to go head first into whatever it is that you're dreaming about, that you're visualizing, that you want to accomplish, right? And Spirit is like, please just be a little careful, just a little careful. Keep your eyes open for pitfalls. You don't want to be reckless. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way. Yes, this endeavor will require a little bit of risk, but you don't want to be reckless with it. But enjoy it. Just open your eyes and be slightly cautious. But I'm hearing that Spirit is really loving this for you. This carefree, this very optimistic attitude that you have. And you're really at the very beginning stages of something. So you may be starting something this week, or you're thinking about starting something this week. And if that is the case, especially if you're thinking about starting something, take the leap. But look before you leap. All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus for this week. Taurus, I like this for you. You've got the Ace of Cups. you've got your cup being replenished. Some of you, your cup has been dry for a while. I'm seeing a cup that's looking dusty. It hasn't had any water in it. Some of you have either been unfulfilled emotionally or uninspired creatively. And I feel like those creative juices are going to start flowing. Those emotional juices are going to start flowing. I feel like your cup is going to be replenished with something that makes you feel really good, something that makes you feel fulfilled, something that makes you feel happy, something that makes you feel inspired. And whatever it is, it's very peaceful. You're enjoying a moment of peace. You're enjoying things just sort of coming together and feeling good. I feel like this is a week where you just feel good. All right. So enjoy it. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we have for Gemini for this week. Okay. Gemini, you've got 2. You've got the Magician. And you've got the 4 of Wands. I'm being guided to look at, so my tablecloth is all of the planets. And I'm being guided to look at Neptune right now. Gemini, you guys are manifesting a home situation, a relationship where you live with someone. This could even be a marriage. You're very idyllic about it, but you're not necessarily seeing things for what they are. I think you're seeing what you want to see. I think that you're seeing what you think it should be, but you're not necessarily seeing it for what it is. And that's where you're manifesting from this place of not knowing everything or things being a little delusional. And while that may be great, right? You definitely need a little bit of delusion in order to have the type of relationship that you want. But I feel like after the mystique sort of wears off, after the fantasy wears off, you're going to be stuck with a reality that you don't necessarily really like, or it's not what you expect. So do this manifestation from a place of being informed. Understand what this really entails. You know, sometimes people think about relationships as like roses and rainbows, and they understand that they're not always the best, but they don't have a realistic view, especially of what it is to live with somebody. And so for you, Gemini, it's really important that you manifest from a place of understanding what it really means and what you're really getting, right? Because you know the phrase, be careful what you wish for, you might actually get it. And for you, Gemini, I feel like that really rings true this week. So you might be seeing things underneath the surface, or you might realize that what you thought you were manifesting is not what's actually coming to fruition. All right. All right. Next up is Cancer. Cancer. Let's see what we've got for you for this week. All right, Cancer, we've got the Page of Pentacles. You guys are learning a valuable new skill. I'm seeing, I don't know if you're taking an online course or you're some sort of certification, but some of you guys are learning something. And I feel like there's going to be a test too. But you're learning something that's very valuable. Not only is it valuable like money-wise, but it's valuable just to know. A lot of times we feel like, especially in this world, we have to learn something that we could immediately put to use or something that we can make money off of. And of course, that is great. And that is the objective with many things. Sometimes it's just good to know certain things. You may not need it now, but you may need it later. And it's not something that you may need to monetize, but it's just something good and valuable to know, right? And so I feel like that is what you are engaged in this week. It's a week of learning for you, learning valuable skills. Okay. And I feel like for you specifically, I do feel like this is something that you're using to either make more money, like let's say some sort of a certification that will allow you to increase your salary, right? I feel like, or it's a skill that you're like, I can turn this into a side hustle, or I could add this to my list of services that I provide, right? You guys are really learning this thing in the spirit of making more money. All right. And that's really you're dead set on this. All right. So spirit is like concentrate and pay attention. I guess like in the sense that pay attention in class. Don't be on your phone. Like really pay attention to this. There may be small details that you don't want to miss. And these small details could be the difference between something good and something great. Okay? So pay attention. All right. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo for this week. Oh, where did that go? All right. Leo, we've got you. We've got the Queen of Wands. You guys are really feeling like yourself this week. You're confident, you're collected, and there is something that you really have your eye on. Some of you are like really, if you take a look at her, she's kind of side-eyeing something. She's looking at it from a different perspective. Like, it's almost as if, you're having a conversation with someone and they tell you something, and then you're kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, I feel like you are either doubting what you're being told, or you realize that someone may not be telling you the whole story. Yeah, you're kind of like, wait, what? I don't think so. I feel like you're kind of in the mood to uncover some shit. You really don't trust what this person is saying, or you don't trust what they're saying all the way. And I feel like you are looking to dig a little deeper to find out the truth. With Venus in Scorpio, the moon is going to go into Scorpio. Some of y'all are going to feel like a little sleuthing, a little private investigation, a little maybe putting things together, like, like going on someone's Instagram account and cross-checking who commented and who did this, who did that. I think that's going to go a long way for you this week. So basically, Spirit is trying to say, don't take what someone says at face value. You may have to do a little digging. You may have to do a little investigating to really get to the bottom of the truth, but it's going to be easy for you to do so. And Spirit is saying this because whatever this person is telling you, it's of interest to you. It's not just a situation where someone's saying something, you're like, oh, this person's lying. Like, it doesn't really mean anything to you. This directly pertains to you or has to do with something that you're interested in. So don't just take it at face value. You're going to want to investigate and see exactly what this person is saying, what their true intentions are, who they're really involved with. Like, for instance, this could be a relationship and this person's really kicking game to you, right? And you're like, yeah, I really like this person. You may want to do some cross-checking. You may want to see if they really are single, or if, I love this. I think I saw it on Instagram. It's like asking someone, like if you go on a first date with someone, like you would ask them, is there anyone who would be disappointed or mad that you are with me right now? Like, the perfect question to ask, right? So that's sort of what we're getting with this. Like, don't take anything for face value. Do some digging, do some investigating. Okay. That was a really interesting message. I liked that. All right. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we've got for Virgo for this week. Look, Virgo, you showed up to your reading also. Virgo, you aren't getting up for anybody in the sense that this week, you know your worth. And you're like, Virgo can be very nurturing, very service oriented, right? Virgo is always willing to help other people, be of service to other people. And this week, I kind of see you being like, nah, who's of service to me? Who's going to help me out? Like, I see you really tapping into your value this week. And it's like, you don't want to budge for anybody. Like, you really don't want to get up off your chair for anybody. Like, it has to be really worth your while for you to put any effort in this week. And that's kind of not like you, because you will help anybody. You will be of service to anyone. You are always there to lend a helping hand, be of support. And this week, you're kind of just like, no. I'm hearing some of you saying like, yeah, I'm a little too good for that. Or that's definitely below my pay grade. Like, sit on your throne like the queen that you are, the queen of the king that you are. And recognize your worth and your value. And don't compromise it for anybody this week. And I think that is the exact energy that you are in. And when I tell you I love that for you, I love that for you. Love it. Keep that same energy going forward too. Don't just let it be a this week kind of thing. And then next week, you go back to jackassing for everybody all over the place. Keep that same energy. It's going to serve you well. Okay. Next up, we've got Libra. What do we have for Libra for this week? Libra, Libra, Libra. You feel like it's you against the world. Like y'all are real defensive this week. You guys are just like, ugh, I've got to fight it. Okay. Some of you are hella arrogant right now. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to fight everybody off with a stick. Everybody wants me. It's a very self-centered kind of energy. And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. It's just that you feel like everyone is against you. You feel like it's you against the world. Like you have so many things, so many battles to fight, so many haters, so many naysayers. And truth be told, even if you do have naysayers, I want you to take a look at where this guy is in relation to where these sticks are. You're in a higher position. So why are you giving credence to the peanut gallery? People are always going to hate on what they can't reach, who they can't be, what they can't have. And that's not your problem. Like, look to the sky, keep moving forward and keep it moving. Let the people in the cheap seats say whatever they're going to say. They're going to complain anyway. Yeah, I'm not saying this to be flippant or not validate how you're feeling, but Libra, it's not that serious. It's really not. Anyone who's got these sticks, like they're really like a non-motherfucking factor. So stop putting your energy on this, because this is not where you need to be unless you want to go down, unless you want to go backward, unless you want to go to the past, which I'm pretty sure you don't. Like, just keep moving forward and forget what these people have to say. It's irrelevant anyway. All right. Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we got for Scorpio for this week. Scorpio, we've got the Knight of Wands. I'm hearing defense. Like you guys are playing defense, moving fast. It's almost like I feel like some of you have this energy of like flying off the handle. Like if someone says something to you or looks at you the wrong way, like you're literally ready to fight. Straight off impulse, on sight, like you're not even thinking about it. You're just like pouncing. You're just like moving. Whatever you're feeling it very passionately and you're just moving in that direction. But you are moving a bit recklessly and you're moving very fast. And understand that there may be a time and a place for that. And this may be the time or the place. However, if it's not, you may end up injuring yourself, and not even physically. Although for some of you, like if you're feeling upset, if you're feeling really angry, like do not get behind the wheel. Don't operate any heavy machinery. Like that could cause you to get hurt physically. But for some of you, it could really bruise your ego. Because whoever you're going after, like they could really come for you. Like for real, they could really hurt your feelings. So try not to be too impulsive. Try to count to 10. Do a little woo-saw moment before you impulsively pounce on someone, before you yell at somebody, before you want to tell somebody who the fuck they think they are. They know who the fuck they are. Let's just say that. And they will gladly tell you who the fuck they are and who the fuck you are. Okay? So be mindful of whatever sort of confrontations you get into. Calm down. Try to have I want to say rational. Try to have a calm conversation to convey how you feel. This may not be the week to be impulsive. Just saying. All right. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for this week. Sag, you've got the Ace of Swords. Not only have you made a decision, but you've like cut something out completely. Some of you have really made up your mind about something or someone. You've been given an opportunity. You've been given a situation where it's like a line has been drawn in the sand. And I see you telling someone, it's like, you're either with me or you're against me, but you can't be both. So choose a side. So you guys are very made up. You've made up your mind and you're like, who's with me? Who's with me? Because if you're not with me, you're against me. Like, so there's a little bit of defensiveness with you this week. But ultimately, I think it's good because you need to know where people stand with you. And I feel like this is the exact opportunity and situation that's going to help you with that. Perhaps you've had people around you and you don't know who's with you or who's against you, right? Maybe you've been finding it difficult to figure out who's really on your team. And the situation is now arising this week where you will know unequivocally who's with you and who's not. And you've made up your mind. It could be a situation where you've made up your mind and you're just going to see who supports you and who doesn't. But either way, I think this is going to be an eye-opening week where you figure out who stays and who goes. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we got for Capricorn for this week. Capricorn, we've got the 9 of Wands. Little battle weary. Like, you've been in some sort of a battle, okay? And as much as you just wish it was over, it's not quite over yet. So you've got to muster up whatever physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, for some even spiritual strength. You've got to muster all of that up to continue. You don't have much to go, but you still have to fight. You still have to fight. You got to put your big girl drawers on, put your big boy pants on, and keep it moving, right? This is not the time to rest, and it's also not the time to let down your defenses. This is the time you're still at war. You haven't won the war yet. You may have won a battle or two. You may have lost some, but the war is not quite over yet, okay? Just keep pushing forward. You're almost done. The war is almost over, but it's that last push. You know, like when you are like running track or whatever and you're running a race and you see the finish line and you kind of just want to slow down, and that's like the worst time to slow down. As you near the finish line, that's where you got to push the hardest. So you're almost at the finish line. You just got to push a little harder and you'll soon be done and hopefully be victorious. Okay. Next up is Aquarius. Let's see what we have for Aquarius for this week. Aquarius, we've got the 4 of Wands. Happy house, happy spouse. That's what I'm hearing. Happiness at home, togetherness, celebration, stability. I feel like this is a good week for home matters, whether it's the people that you live with, your family members, or your physical house. I feel like this is just a great week to be home. This could be a great week to decorate, right? You see how it's got these decorations here. This is reminding me of like Christmas decorations. So you may want to decorate your home. You may want to have people over. You may want to socialize. You may want to rearrange furniture. Everything having to do with home is looking good this week. So enjoy it. Feelings of togetherness, feelings of happiness, hopefulness, and sort of preparing your home for the new year. So I don't know if you're cleaning. I don't know if you are just getting things in order, rearranging things, but something about getting your home ready for 2024 is sort of on your mind this week. So you may want to start doing that so you're not doing it all the last week of December, all right? But things at home are looking good this week, so enjoy it. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we've got for Pisces for this week. Oh, Pisces, we've got the 5 of Cups. Despair and sadness. Despair over what has not worked out. You see how these 3 cups have spilled over. And some of you are just really, this may be a week where you're crying a lot or you're feeling a lot of emotions. Regret over what you should have done, what you could have done, what this person should have did. But you're not noticing the 2 cups behind you. The 2 cups behind you signify love. They signify togetherness. They signify partnership. So perhaps there's a relationship that didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, and you're really feeling the effects of that. Or you're realizing that maybe there are some relationships that you have to let go of. Remember I said the South Node is going through Libra. Venus just came through Libra. Now it's going through Scorpio. It's like you're seeing the realness of a situation. And it may have you sad. It may have you regretful. This may also have to do with money. Money that's not coming in. Regrets over what didn't work in terms of money. But there are better things. You just can't see them right now. And that's important. Sun in Sagittarius will have you hopeful, at least a little bit. So maybe the Sun in Sagittarius will allow you to turn around and see these 2 cups behind you and see that all is not lost and that maybe you just have to go in a different direction. But either way, whatever you're feeling this week, allow yourself to feel it. Don't stifle your emotions. Don't deny them. Feel what you're feeling and understand that brighter and better days indeed are ahead. All right. All right, my loves. So that concludes this edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you're able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going forward into this week. All right. Again, Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing the 2024 yearly horoscope. You definitely don't want to miss it. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing week, and I will see you in my next video. All right, my loves. Take care.